Circles around you on this, dude. Check the scoreboard. Most unpopular war in American history going in. Check the scoreboard. 13 dead Americans, millions of innocent people being displaced.
You have the luxury of sitting in your little studio with your hooded sweater like you're 17 years old.
I have a wife and children. Who depends on you, Adam? Your mom?
Okay. I also have a...
Your mom?
Okay. I also have a...
Your mom? Your mom?
Okay, I also have a significant...
Hi everyone and welcome back to the Clever Reports. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you'll be notified anytime I drop another video. First of all, I think Piers Morgan, as Adam Sosnick should sue Piers Morgan. I don't know, for anything, for setting him up like this. And I think setting Adam Sosnick up like, setting him up to fail. I know that people will say, yes, it was his own argument, but man, that was crazy. That was very, very crazy. And that person that Adam Sosnick should sue is the person that actually advised him to go on and debate Dave Smith. He doesn't, he's not even working. He got wrecked, he got destroyed. So there are a couple of things we want to take away from this whole interview. Immediately I saw the thumbnail, I was like, I just knew. Yeah, he got showed in the comments. I just knew. When I saw the thumbnail, I was like, what is Adam Sosnick doing? Adam, like, we've been tolerating you on PBD's podcast. Everybody knows that you are not that smart. Everybody knows. Anybody that actually watched PBD podcast, actually, at least when PBD podcast was not shilling for God's chosen people, we all knew. We all knew that Adam was not that bright. He was just there, just saying things like, everybody knows Adam is not bright. But trying to go on Piers Morgan in a international geopolitical conversation about foreign policy, this is not Adam's place. He shouldn't even be having anything to do with that. So at first, they were talking about, terrorism, definition of terrorism. Now, I want us to watch the clip first, then we can still, talk about what's happening.
Now, for me to say what I made the point, and I've made this point a million times on your show, Piers, I was saying when people come on and say Iran is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism, well, just give me an objective definition of what terrorism means, and then let's apply that standard universally. And if you're going to sit here and say, look, America has given billions, tens of billions of dollars to the IDF in the last few years. We've also, by the way, given a lot of weapons and money. Your first guest on this show there, the head of the Obama deep state, was using Al-Qaeda, bin Ladenite head choppers on the ground in Libya and in Syria. And yes, Adam, I would also consider it when our politicians lie us into wars that slaughter millions of innocent people and in many cases target those innocent people. I consider that terrorism as well. There's the answer, Adam.
Now, I understand where Dave Smith is coming from. If they're going by the decision of or definition of terrorism being, killing innocent people to affect political change, he's kind of right. He's not saying that he's equating it with ISIS or Al Qaeda and all these other, barbaric terrorist groups, but he's just saying that if we're going by the logic or going by the mere definition of terrorism being killing innocents, for the 20 years US have been in Iraq and Afghanistan, multiple millions of innocents have been killed and displaced. And that is just a fact. Maybe he was being over the top about it, he was going for the shock effect. But I understand where he's coming from. It doesn't, and Adam was trying to attack him, saying that he's now talking about the US servicemen and all these things. No, that was not what Dave Smith was saying, because these people were just carrying orders, what they believe. They are following their commander-in-chief. But it's just saying in general, if you are defining the terms of terrorism being killing innocents, just like what happened in Iran, female school, children of school of small little girls were bombed and multiple kids were killed, innocent kids. So you cannot tell me that these kids were just somehow they are the supporters of the evil regime of the Ayatollah. No, that is just a mere human fact. So it's not as if, and another thing is that during Obama's presidency, they armed these Al-Qaeda terrorists. Even now, the person that is in charge of Syria will formerly an Al-Qaeda terrorist that was beheading people, that he had an $11 million bounty on his head. So if we are being intellectually honest, We know that Dave Smith, yes, he's been over the top. Anybody that hears it will be like, no, the US government or the US is not a terrorist organization. But if you're defining it by killing of innocents, now they can make the argument about saying that they intentionally, them and the IDF they intentionally did not want to kill civilians. But it's subjective because most people or many people find it hard to believe it, especially when it's happening with the IDF. Many people find it hard to believe that they do not target or they are not targeting innocent civilians. And that is just a fact. So Adam was trying to make all these, and the worst part is that Adam was not even making an argument for himself. He was making an argument for Coleman Hughes. Man, you're on a debate on national TV because we can all agree that the YouTube now, even if you think Piers Morgan is not a Jerry Springer show, that they're just coming for the shock effect, but it is the national news. So anybody that appears on Piers Morgan's show, you are basically appearing on national TV. But Adam was just bringing up props and he was making a fool of himself. Like a full grown man, he couldn't even articulate one counter argument to what Dave Smith was bringing to the table. He couldn't do it. It's so crazy. It was way out of his depth on this one. And the fact that Adam actually thought that he was making a point or he was right about the whole thing, and Dave Smith didn't even do much. He was just laughing, telling Adam he was making a fool of himself. So at that point, there was a period when Adam was talking about asking Dave Smith if he has ever been to the Middle East, trying to make it look like since he has not been to the Middle East, he shouldn't have an opinion on that. And then he started to make the equivalent of England, and then Piers Morgan had to cut him off and ask him that has he actually been to England for like in the recent time. So let us watch what he has to say about that.
Just said that America is a terrorist organization.
Adam, if you brought my country
he's
into
anti-American, and here I am as a proud American saying that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
You said that Dave couldn't talk about the Middle East because he hasn't been there much. When was the last time you were in England?
I spent much time in England. My ex-wife was Welsh.
When was the last time?
She wasn't a sheepshagger.
When was the last time?
The last time I was in Europe, in England, in the Middle East. Where would you like me to go?
No, England.
The last time I was in England was about 8 years ago.
Right. So this idea, let me tell you.
The last time I was in Israel.
Let me tell you.
The last time I was in Israel.
This idea
was 3 years ago.
Adam,
there is a weird
Pierce,
idea.
do we have to put this episode out? I like Adam.
There
We
is
don't
a
have
weird
to
idea. There are many people.
Are you saying that not going to a country?
Adam, many people. Hang on. Many people on the conservative right in America seem to be under the illusion that my country has been taken over by radical Muslims. Let me tell you, I have lived here on and off for the last 8 years, unlike you, and respectfully, we have not been taken over by radical Muslims.
So if you're going to make an argument, because somebody's opinion or criticism of what is happening in the Middle East is not valid because he has not been there, then you cannot criticize what is happening in the UK. You cannot pick on the United Kingdom because you have not been there for the past 8 years. You see, when they put a functional equivalent of his analogy, it falls in front of logic. Adam just made a fool of himself. Everybody knows that President Trump campaigned on not starting any new wars. He campaigned on not getting involved in another Middle Eastern war. He campaigned on these things. So people now, it is disingenuous for you to say people are not supporting MAGA or people are not patriotic just because they are criticizing President Trump because of pressure from God's chosen people. He actually, went back on all his policies. And this is just a purely economical war when it comes from Iran's perspective. It's a war of attrition. They just have to sit down and allow the US deplete their stockpiles. And now they are controlling the Strait of Hormuz. And now the US wants to negotiate with them. And these other powers or large powers like like Iran, like China and Russia, they're seeing all this and they'll be like, if the United States can actually, cower to Iran, and then they can do anything they want to do. So I don't know, man. The fact that PBD sent Adam to represent, they are calling him the guy from PBD's podcast. I actually enjoyed watching PBD podcast like since last year for over 2-3 years now. But immediately they started, shilling for God's chosen people, it became unbearable. Even Vinny, that was a bit sense of logic and reasoning, like sounded like the average person is now saying we should believe everything the CIA or should believe everything the US government is saying or selling. So it's just like a fall from grace. And people, another thing is that I'm surprised I'm surprised that people are surprised that Adam is dumb. Like Adam is a retard. Everybody knows that. You know, from a clip, the intro to PBD's podcast is where he said, Adam, what's your point? And there were multiple cases or multiple like instances of everybody asking Adam, Piers Morgan and Dave Smith asking Adam, bro, make your point already.
Is based on some memo.
Well, I'm not quite sure what, Adam, I'm not quite sure what is the point you're making.
The point is this: Dave has zero.
Make your point, and Adam couldn't do it, and he was busy making an argument saying he was body bagged by Coleman Hughes. Adam couldn't make an argument for himself. He was using another person's debate with Dave Smith, which was the fact that Dave Smith wasn't even bodied. I watched that 3-hour debate. He wasn't even bodied. The back and forth was very, very professional and cool. And David Smith got the better of him sometimes, and Coleman Hughes got the better of him. So any person that was watching that without an agenda knew that he wasn't bodied just like the way Adam was saying it. But Adam couldn't make a point. This is the problem. When you want to support these whole Zionist, talking points, it falls flat in the face of logic. So I'm happy Adam was just ruined. There's no way he's coming back on the national stage to debate anybody. And Adam should sue that person that encouraged him to come on Piers Morgan and debate Dave Smith. That is all I'm going to say about that. Until next time, peace.